Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the SPL Express. I'm Abhishek Ravikrishnan and I'm joined by former pro Rich Roshan Raya, and we're going to look forward to this weekend's action in the Singapore Premier League. But first, let's bring you some results from what happened last weekend. It started off with a drab affair at the Toa Payoh Stadium. Albrechts Negata edging Balestier Khalsa 2-1, courtesy of a Tadanari Lee goal. And on Saturday, the Lion City Sailors, with an uninspired performance, but they still managed to deliver, beating Geylang International by 1-0. Meanwhile, at the Hougang Stadium, it was pretty exciting stuff. Hougang United snatching a late equaliser to ensure that the spoils were shared, as Hougang drew with Tanjong Pagar United 1-1. So here's a look at the standings, and the Lion City Sailors continue to lead the way with 22 points. That's 6 ahead of second-placed Albrechts Negata. Tampines are third but have a game in hand and are in action this week. Meanwhile, Tanjong Pagar are fourth with 13 points. So here's a look at match week 10. Tanjong Pagar United will face Balestier Khalsa at the Jurong East Stadium. That's on Friday. And on Saturday, it's the big one, Tampines Rovers entertaining Lion City Sailors. Sunday sees Geylang International host Hougang United. So some pretty interesting matchups coming up. Let's start with the Tanjong Pagar versus Balestier clash. Roshan, these two sides have struggled defensively this season. Let's start off with Tanjong Pagar. Just one clean sheet the entire season.
Yes, a lot of concern defensively for both these sides. You know, not just the goals that they've conceded, but I think chance after chance, and the chances that both these teams concede throughout the league this season, very worrying, concerning if you're a coach, and especially with the setup at times. I think for Tanjong Pagar, as you mentioned, when they do set up out of possession without the ball, they tend to try and make themselves compact and difficult to break down. But that hasn't been the case because they're still allowing shots and chances and shots on target against them. Thankfully, they've got a good goalkeeper in Zafan. I know he didn't play the last time out. Fasha got an opportunity in goal for them. But yeah, that's really something that's a little bit strange, something that they have to sort of work on going forward. We know they're very much a counter-attacking side and rely on the attacking quality of Ryo Nishiguchi. But the holes that they have in front of their defense as well, that midfield getting stretched and the crosses that they do allow from the wider areas, I think that's an area of concern for this Tanjong Pagar side.
And for Balestier, they've actually faced 17 shots on average this season. Now, that's a very worrying sign for Akbar. 17
shots per game on average. Yeah, that's a very, very high number. Again, it goes down to the fact that when you look at these teams and when you think of them and you look at the setup, and also you have to mention the individual quality as well, especially for Balestier. You know, you can perhaps have a bit of sympathy for Akbar in that sense, you know, in terms of the personnel that he's got to sort of work with. As much as you try and make things as difficult for the opposition, you still are very reliant on the quality that you have coming onto the pitch and what they can deliver. But the fact that they are conceding all these opportunities is definitely an area of concern for both these sides.
Now, the last time these two sides met, it was a goal fest at the Toa Payoh Stadium. Tanjong Pagar coming out on top 5-3. What can we expect from this game?
I'm going to say more of the same, and hopefully for us neutrals, it's more of the same, because both these sides concede lots of chances. They allow the opposition lots of opportunities to break them down. They're very open, very loose. But the good thing about both these teams is they have quality in attacking areas. I mentioned Nishiguchi earlier for Tanjong Pagar, but also the likes of Nishikawa getting to advanced areas, creating chances for them. Shugic, you know, on the ball, scored against Balestier last time out as well. He's got good quality in possession. And Balestier is the same for them in terms of that forward line that they have with the Japanese players up front. Hoshino's in a great run of form. Scored 5 times in his last 6 appearances in the league. He's playing in that number 9 role, which I think is his favorite position. He's a good finisher. So it should be a good game in an attacking sense. But just like a lot of the games that we've seen in the league this season, aside from last weekend, was a bit surprised that there were a lack of goals. The defending quality overall hasn't been the best. But it's great for us neutrals with the fact that we get to see some attacking play and we get to see some goals.
Well, that segues nicely into the next match that we're going to focus on, Geylang versus Hougang. We talked about attacking quality. Geylang, on the other end of the spectrum, they've scored just 9 goals this season, and on average, they've created 4 chances per game.
Yes, and this is the thing with Geylang. I was working on the game at the weekend against the Lion City Sailors, and I thought Geylang were actually good. I think some of the performances this season have been decent. They just haven't gotten the results, you know, that they perhaps deserved. One of the issues for them is also that they don't exactly have a very big squad. I'd say they have about 13, 14 players, and that's about it. You know, they can't really make too many changes and not too many options for Noor Ali off the bench. But they don't create enough chances, they don't create enough opportunities. And the fact that you said it was only an average of 4 chances per game, that really is not good enough. And you have to look at the attacking players. And Sime Zuzul aside, I mean, they need to get more support into him. He's isolated at times. He's got 4 of the 9 goals this season. So he is someone who's trying to pretty much do it all on his own. He's trying to create opportunities on his own, but you can't really always rely on that. You need to find a way of making sure that in those, perhaps in the transitions or perhaps even in the possession play, they get players closer to him, as they did in the second half against the Lion City Sailors, in that they had a higher starting position and they put the opposition under pressure. And they had players in the box, they had players in advanced areas, like so Tezuka could get forward and have shots at goal. So they need to look at doing that a lot more, that chance creation, and that's just about trying to push that team further up the pitch. I think, playing closer towards the opposition goal will help them a lot more in terms of that chance creation. Bezakor, I think, is slowly sort of starting to settle. I think he had a good game against the Lion City Sailors. He was trying to create chances, trying to run with the ball, trying to create opportunities with it. So hopefully that can carry on for them, because I think they actually have a decent sort of lineup when they put that out. It's just about now trying to push that team higher up the pitch now and take a few more risks at the back. That's fine, but try and push them higher up to create those opportunities, and hopefully they can put those chances away.
Well, they face Hougang United this week, and Hougang, they grabbed that late equalizer courtesy of Pedro Bortoluzo. Pedro, he scored 3 goals in his 5 appearances for the club. He's slowly coming into form. How important is he for this Hougang team?
I think he's very important, and I think you saw it with their poor display in the first round. The fact that Pedro Bortoluzo was out for large parts of that first round through injury, that always takes away a lot of quality in those attacking positions. And Pedro looks like the kind of player who can drop off as well, off that forward line, and link the play. He can run into the area from deeper positions, and he's a decent finisher in and around the penalty box as well. You can see him popping up with an important goal like that in the last minute of the game, I would assume, 90 plus 4, to come up with an important goal, an equalizer there to get Hougang a point. It's been a strange season for Hougang. It's been a very disappointing season for Hougang so far. But now with Pedro back in the side, if you're a Cheetahs fan, you're kind of hoping that that will allow them to gain a little bit more fluidity in those attacking areas, and maybe the results will come through that. But overall, the balance of that team just isn't quite right at the moment. Whether it's they're lacking personnel in certain areas, whether it's something to do with the confidence, or they're trying to switch the style of play from what they worked on in the preseason to what they're having to do now, whether there are issues behind the scenes with the coaching staff, whatever it is, it's something they have to sort out very quickly, because they shouldn't be where they are in the table at the moment.
Well, speaking of putting together a run of victories, we have Lion City Sailors, who are top of the league, and we've mentioned before that their performances have not matched the expectations that the fans have. Kim De-hoon spoke after their victory over Galang, and he was not too happy.
Obviously, it seems like they prepared well, but obviously I can't speak much about the opponent. It's their team. But for me, it was us. The problem is internal; it's not external. Obviously, I did see a bit of lack of professionalism from some of the players, both mentally and physically. The preparation for the match and how they showed up in the game. So, if we want to develop, if we want to become a better team, which I'm speaking non-stop, like again and again and again, we just have to be more professional, and we need to be more professional preparing for the match and be more professional on the field as well. So it's an area that we have to look into, and hopefully next game the preparation both mentally and physically will be better, and we'll have a better performance.
So the Sailors head coach questioning the attitude of his players. What do you make of it all, Roshan?
It's fascinating, and it's worrying at the same time that Kim Do-hoon, a coach with all sorts of experience, as formerly as a player as well, the level that he played at, and also as a coach with Ulsan, and what he has experienced in his career so far, to come out here and say these things about what should be Singapore's best side in terms of the quality that they have available to them. I mean, if he's talking about professionalism and how players are looking comfortable and taking things easy, it's concerning, because the Lion City Sailors are supposed to be like the bastion of professionalism in the league, and the quality of the players that they have, they're all national team players. Most of them are national team players, essentially. The qualities of the foreign players that come in as well, I'm not sure if he's referring to them. He might be referring more to the local contingent in there. It is a wake-up call, and it's something that a lot of observers of Singapore football and me included out there, we've been talking about this. They're still able to pick up those results, but the performances, for a side of that quality, for the side of that sort of experience, you expect a lot more in terms of the performances. And I think it's fair to say that. I think it's fair to talk about it. I mean, Kim Do-hoon certainly thought it was important to talk about. So that is, again, something that, he's going to have to address behind the scenes with his players. He's publicly come out and slammed them, essentially, and challenged them. And challenged them to say, then you prove me wrong. Step up, because you need to be doing a lot better. They shouldn't be in those situations that we've seen them in, where they're hanging on. Against a side like Geylang, LCS, with the vast difference in resources, shouldn't be hanging on. They should be in control of these matches. Even the last time out against Hougang, they were in control for large parts, but then towards the end they slipped, the concentration slipped, and became 4-3, and it gave Hougang an opportunity almost to try and get themselves back into the game. So these are definitely areas of concern, and it's something for the players to also take on board and take that responsibility, to say that, we're playing for the biggest club in Singapore, we represent the country in the AFC Champions League, people are looking at us, the pressure is on, but also the resources are there. You're getting paid a good wage. You're being really well taken care of. So you need to deliver on the training ground. You need to deliver on the pitch as well.
Well, they're facing a Tampines side who are pretty galvanized under Gavin Lee, and they've been playing a very exciting brand of football. And the two players who are going to be important for this game, Nakamura and Lestienne, especially in terms of chance creation and assists. How do you see that battle panning out?
That's going to be an interesting one. I think I've spoken previously on our earlier episodes of this show about Nakamura and his position with Tampines now. He's allowed to get further forward. He's become more of that creative hub for the Stags, and that's why we've seen his numbers go up in terms of his assists, in terms of his chance creation. He's not sitting in front of that defense. I think he'll play a similar sort of role against the Lion City Sailors. But also this Tampines side, when you look at them across the season, players like Mehmedovic, I think sometimes don't get enough credit for the work that they do. Especially with the ball, especially in possession. Kopitovic is another who's been high quality for them and will score chances. You can get chances into him. The problem for Tampines in this game against the Lion City Sailors, and you worry if it's going to be the similar sort of story to when the first time these two sides met, in that they will create chances, but they didn't take those opportunities and they didn't kill the game off against LCS. I expect Tampines to actually go into this game as the favourites in terms of their chance creation and the qualities, and Nakamura will play a key part of that. Whereas for the Lion City Sailors, if we come back to Lestienne, they're very much looking at him in those transitional moments, in the counter-attacking situations where they try and outnumber opposition, they try and overload them down that side of the flank with Lestienne and Ikram getting forward at times. But even if Ikram doesn't join him, Lestienne has got the quality, the speed, and that movement across the forward line, down that left-hand side especially, to create chances for the Lion City Sailors, for Kim Shin-wook. He is an outstanding talent, fantastic winger. You can see at times that perhaps he finds his league a little bit too easy for himself. He's very comfortable. Then you try and feed him a little bit more. But I'd also like to see a bit more variation in the Lion City Sailors game based on the quality that they have. But Tampines, I think, go into this as a side that I personally have enjoyed watching. And it's incredible the job that Gavin's doing, because when you look at the team, I've said they have had issues defensively. They do concede opportunities. The mentality at set pieces and the organization at set pieces is something that has to be sorted out. But with the ball, and when you look at the side, it's a young team. They have players like Adam Rifdi, 17 years of age, playing in central defense. You don't really find that across the world of professional football. And hats off to them. The fact that they could be moving up to second, and they could be the Lion City Sailors' closest challengers this season. It's an incredible job that they're doing, that they play football in a wonderful way. It gets fans, really enjoying themselves. I'm a neutral, and I enjoy the way they play. Wonderful on the ball. So, I think this should be a really, really good game of football between these two sides.
Well, we'll put you on the spot and ask you for your quick prediction for this one. Who do you see coming out on top?
I'm terrible at predictions, right? If I could get my predictions right, I wouldn't be here working with you. That's the old joke. That's the joke that I've always got. But I think Tampines have the tools here to really trouble the Lion City Sailors, and I think they will cause problems again. And I thought they should have won against the Lion City Sailors the last time out. I think they'll win this game against the Lion City Sailors as well, especially if the Sailors don't wake up and they don't respond and they don't show their quality. I think there's a lot more fluidity in this Tampines Rovers side at the moment, and the players are playing with confidence. and they'll take the challenge to the Lion City Sailors, which is great to see. So I'm going to go for a Tampines win in this one.
Well, you heard it here first. Roshan saying Tampines are going to come out on top. Don't forget, you can catch that game live on all our social media platforms from 5 p.m. It's our feature game. Roshan is going to be joined by John Dykes for the pre-match build-up in that one. So that's all the time we have for SPL Express today. Roshan, always a pleasure. Hope you enjoy this weekend's action and hope you guys enjoy the football as well in the Singapore Premier League. Till next time, take care.